And now I have the pleasure of introducing today's webcast, My 3 Crazy Marketing Secrets That Bring In Hundreds of New Clients Each Year. But first, I would like to thank today's sponsor, the Newsletter Pro. The Newsletter Pro, building relationships to change the way our firm grows with the power of custom print newsletters. Thank you so much, Newsletter Pro. Shaun Buck will be our presenter today. He's the owner and CEO of the Newsletter Pro. Shaun is focused on growth strategies for law firms across the country and specializes in marketing strategies that dramatically increase referrals. He has been a serial entrepreneur for the last 16 years and is a co-author of the No BS Guide to Maximum Referrals and Customer Retention with Dan Kennedy. He currently owns and operates Boise, Idaho-based company, the Newsletter Pro. He and his 60-member team have made the Inc. 500 fastest-growing company 2 years in a row with a growth rate of 2,975%. He has been helping businesses double and triple the number of new clients they receive for over a decade. And without further ado, Shaun, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Sounds great. Thank you. Appreciate the introduction here. And all right, let's move over to me, and let me get the screen share going here. Let's see. All right. Well, it's not giving me the option to share. Give me 1 second. Let me close out this. And see.
Okay.
Can you guys see that or no?
Not yet. Just go to the very top left corner of your screen where it says share.
Yep.
And then you're going to share your screen.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. We'll get it here.
There you go. Now we're beginning to see it.
Now you're seeing me. Okay. Well, let's pull up the actual presentation then. Well, it's not pulling it up, but I'll pull it up this way. We'll get there. All right, we've got it. All right, so guys, we're going to go over these secrets.
We're actually not seeing it just yet, Shaun.
Can't see it yet, huh?
No, not yet. We're seeing a black gray screen. Just open up your Prezi on your desktop, and then you're just going to share your screen, and we should be able to see it. Is Rachel in there with you?
She's just walked in to fix it, so we'll let her fix it.
Okay, great. All right, fantastic.
Oh, that's Zoom. Are you guys seeing that?
Yes, we are beginning to see it now.
19, now you're seeing it?
Yes.
Perfect. Great.
Thank you. We're there.
All right. Sorry about that, folks. All right. Technology, you got to love it. So we're going to go over 3 game-changing secrets that you can implement now to grow your firm in the next 30 days, okay? So I don't want to give you stuff that's going to take forever. You know, some of the strategies will work better over time, but I want you to see results right away. I want you guys to be able to see success, right? So we're going to go over that now. Word of warning here, okay? These strategies, here's the good news. They can't be easily hacked or copied. There's a lot of that going on right now. You know, I don't know if you've seen what's going on Facebook. You can basically go and copy anyone's funnel, anyone's ads. It's super simple to do right now. You know, obviously people can see what you're doing if you're running out on billboards, if you're running out, you know, advertisements, sometimes even the direct mail, they can check in on that. They can hear what you're doing on the radio. The good news is this stuff is a little more behind the scenes, works really well. It's not easily copied. Okay, now the bad news is that if your competitors start using these, okay, here's what's going to happen. They could be quietly kicking your ass and you wouldn't even realize it was happening, okay? And that's the bad news. This is stuff that is universal, right? It's not fly-by-night. It will be working today as well as tomorrow and next year and 5 years from now, because this is just I'm going to be showing you some of the trends of where we're going from a marketing standpoint. And now the good news is the secrets are not necessarily hard to implement, okay, but they can be counterintuitive in part because of what we hear on the media, and I'll explain that a little bit more. And then finally, the last thing I'm going to cover is the future of marketing, okay? So I'm going to tell you, with everything that's happening today, all the changes of marketing, this is something I've spent my entire adult life studying, okay? I'm going to show you where it's going, okay? And when I point it out to you, you will be able to see it. You will know, you'll be like, yes, that makes sense that this is where it's going. So I'm going to show you where marketing is heading, and that will allow you to get in front of the curve, okay? So now I've got a bonus for everyone here, okay? So if you stay to the end of this webinar, I'm going to give you a chance to opt in and get one of my books for free, okay? We're going to send it to you complimentary, no need to have a wallet or anything. You can throw it away, no credit cards, no money being asked for. But I want to give you something special because I promised you immediate results, right? And so when you get the book, I'm also going to send you a copy of my 3-sentence email training. So this is a training that you can watch. It's about a 20-25-minute training because the process is very simple. I'll go over it step by step. I'll tell you what to say in these emails, but this will take prospects, people who have come in, who have inquired, who, you know, potentially could become clients but haven't yet, and we're going to flip them, and we're going to get them, some of those people to come in and actually sign up and become clients right away. So I'll give you that entire training. It's complimentary. That way you can definitely bank on that guarantee of getting more money within 30 days because all you got to do is implement this one training and that will happen. I will tell you the last time we put this 3-sentence email in place, which we do about twice a year. A law office can do it about 4 times a year, but we can only do it about twice a year. We generated over $100,000 in new revenue into our company. So it's very powerful, works super well, and it's very easy, which is even better, right? So we'll give you that. Let me give you my brief backstory here. So that is me. I'm about 18 years old in that picture, and that story starts out, though, a little bit earlier. It starts out with a phone call from my ex-girlfriend at the time, and she calls me up to tell me her good news, and her good news was that she was pregnant. That was my phone call, and I didn't know what to say, so I said congratulations because I wasn't sure why she was calling me. And then she proceeds to tell me that the baby's actually mine and that I'm going to be a dad, and I said, whoa, 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 hold on here. We broke up 2 months ago. I don't think you're right. And she's like, no, that's exactly how these things work. And so, yep, you're going to be a dad. And so sure enough, 2 weeks before my 17th birthday, I was a dad. Now, I never claimed to be the smartest person out there, but I did know one thing. When I was going to be a dad. I knew that my job at Chuck E. Cheese as the mouse making $4.25 an hour was not going to buy a lot of diapers or formula or pay a lot of bills. And so I had to figure something else out. So I did what any sane person would do, is I went to a bookstore and I grabbed a big old stack of business books because why not be an entrepreneur? And I couldn't afford to buy any of these business books, so I sat in Barnes & Noble and read them, but I started studying business. And that was kind of what kicked it off. Now, of course, I had a lot of naysayers. People didn't think I should be involved, but interestingly enough, small side story, my son actually works for me here now. He's 22, and I ended up raising him instead of his mom, and it was the best decision of my life. And today, this is a little bit of what my life looks like. I've got 5 boys, so I routinely remind my dad that I've done everything I can to keep the family name going. There's a lot of fun that goes on in my house. And for anyone who has boys, you know there's also a lot of wrestling and a lot of pee and poop jokes because that's what boys do. So if you don't have boys, I apologize, I'm not trying to offend you there, but that is basically what little boys talk about. Now, unlike most people in their 20s who jumped from job to job, I jumped from business to business. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. I owned a couple of small businesses like the ones you see here. Some of them were in marketing. Some of them were Woody's hot dog stands, which were in front of Lowe's home improvement stores. Some were dry cleaning companies. Really, none of this matters, except there's one really interesting story here that people tend to like, and that's these hot dog stands. Everyone's always curious, do these things make any money, right? You know, you see them in front of Lowe's or Home Depot, And here's what I can tell you. We did $500,000 a year in hot dogs out of our hot dog stand. So they do make a little bit of money there. And then the one other interesting thing is this was a franchise, and it was called Woody's Hot Dogs, and there's a slogan on every menu board, and that's, it's the big one, baby, it's a Woody. And so, yes, I was on every menu board across the entire franchise, and so that's really the big interesting story out of those. But I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I was big, right? So I landed on marketing a long time ago, and this is my company. Actually, this is about a year ago on a ribbon cutting for a building I just bought for us. We've been one of the best places to work in Idaho 3 years in a row. Inc. Magazine 500, fastest growing 500 companies list 2 years in a row, the 5,000 list this year. I'm regularly featured on entrepreneur.com and a bunch of other various different medias, and so you can check that stuff out at some point if you so desire. But that's a little bit of us. There's about 60 of us here now. We send out, I don't know, 500,000 print newsletters a month or something like that. And then finally, I've authored 2 books. Like I said, I'm going to give you the Ultimate Guide to Newsletters. That's going to be, you're going to be able to get that for free. We're going to cover all the shipping and everything. And the No BS Guide to Maximum Referrals and Customer Retention is another one that I authored with marketing legend Dan Kennedy. So let's jump into this. This is something that has been, I've seen in my life, throughout my life, actually, and it's that the masses are always wrong, right? It says the masses are always wrong. Wisdom is doing everything the crowd does not do. So, look, here's the thing. It's really important that you get this, because when we start looking at what's popular out there right now, what the media is telling us works and what doesn't work, they are incorrect most of the time. You know, I saw it in my own life when I had a kid at 16, and family members and friends told me I was crazy. They told me I was going to ruin my life if I raised this little boy. They told me I should just walk away, right? You know, that was the masses, what the masses were telling me to do. And frankly, they were wrong. It made my life. I would not be sitting here today had I not had that little boy and had I not raised him. And so, you know, they were completely wrong. Now, we don't have to go back to my history. We can look at recent history here for us. You know, do you remember last December what was all over the news? Bitcoin. Everyone was going to be a Bitcoin millionaire. You remember that? Like, Bitcoin's $20,000. Everyone's making so much money. Buy. It's going to hit $1 million of Bitcoin here pretty soon and stuff, right? And we can go back a little further. 05, 06. The real estate, everyone was a real estate genius, right? It was all over the news. I'm telling you guys, the moment something's all over the news, I am selling. When the news is talking about it, that is bad news for me as an investor, I've found, right? I am out of that thing the moment it is all over the news. But I found that's the same thing for marketing here, okay? So let's give an example here. Every law office is focused on what? They're all focused on new clients. Now, of course, we need to focus on new clients. That's super important. That's something that we all need to focus on. But if everyone is focusing almost all of their efforts on new clients, you know, are we missing something? Is there some other way to grow that if we just put a little bit of energy into it, we could see some success? See, it's an interesting question, but first I want to go over, like, when you think about getting a new client, it's like the most difficult part of anything we do is getting new clients. It is so challenging, right? So how much time and money do you or your team spend on getting new clients? Think about that. The investment is crazy, right? How much money do you invest? Speaking of investment, how much money, what is that spend? What's that ad dollar spend to go out there and get those clients, right? How many people then have to see your ad or offer for you to even convince one person to call and come in? You got a massive billboard up there being seen by 100,000 cars a day. How many people does that drive in every day? 1? 2, if you're lucky, right? How many of the people who come in and speak to you for a consultation become good and loyal clients? Not only do they come in, do they sign right there, but they come back over and over again, right? It's really hard to get these leads, and then it's really hard to get customers. But we spend all of our time and effort solely on getting those new leads and then trying to turn them into customers. Now, I want you to switch that thinking a little bit, okay? Not telling you don't go get new clients. That's not what I'm saying. But I want you to switch the thinking a little bit, and I'm gonna illustrate it by telling you this story, okay? So Moen Faucets, we've all heard of Moen Faucets, huge company. They run something called a Did You Buy survey, all right? And a Did You Buy survey means that if you inquire about Moen Faucets, like on their website, and they send you some information, they have a percentage of people that they call, and they just ask a very simple question. Did you buy any faucet? Not did you buy a Moen faucet, but did you buy any faucet? They just want to know if you made a purchase in that category, right? So let's think about this. What do you think maybe they said? So over 51% of people who requested information made a purchase within that category within 18 months. So think about that for a quick second. Half of those people calling in or going online, or half of the people calling your office, whatever the case may be, and putting in their information or talking to a rep, over half of them are going to buy in your category within 18 months. So unless your close rate is 51% of every lead that comes in, there's room there, right? We have room to get more sales from what we've already got, to get everything we can out of all we've already got, right? Now, what they found was that only 15% of people who request information will buy within the first 90 days. I have found that many times in some legal niches, obviously that number is a little bit different, right? So if I'm in jail and I make a phone call, I'm pretty much a buyer, pretty rapidly of legal services, right? But it doesn't hold true, across every single area of law, right? In PI even, there's a lot of people who call, who inquire, but maybe aren't ready. See, we forget how intimidated people are by the legal process, right, and by lawyers, and this is scary for them. So if you're thinking about this, and you're thinking about this from your practice, we're missing opportunity just because we're not working those leads hard enough, okay? See, up to 85% of your future clients are 90-plus days out. Because of the 51% who are going to buy, only 15% buy right away, which is giving you 85% of the total universe is over 90 days out from doing business with you. So if that's the case, if they're more than 90 days out from making a decision, we have to continue to follow up with them, right? We have to stay top of mind. We have to remind them who we are, what we do, and that we're still in business. See, so many people give up on that lead so early in the process that they're missing out. There's gold in those leads. They don't actually have to go spend more money to generate another lead. They've got to spend a tiny bit of what they would have spent to get that new lead and go after the old lead and get them to convert, right? It's just shifting of your thinking. How can we get the most out of everything we've already got? As opposed to, well, how do we go find more new stuff? Because you know what happens when you go find more new stuff, right? The lead cost typically goes up. There's a point where you've hit the sweet spot. You're getting in 250 leads a month, and that's, for your cost per lead, that's as much as you can get at that cost per lead for the media that's available in your area. And you've got to now spend more money. You've got to be willing to spend, XYZ cost per lead, which is higher than you're already spending to get more leads in, right? There's a saturation point. But if we could get more out of what we've already got, how much better would we be, right? How much bigger could we grow? How much faster could we grow? How much more profit would we have? And the biggest thing to remember from a profit standpoint is, these are some of the most profitable customers you can go get. Because when you go get a client like this, who's already been a lead, who's already talked to you guys, who's already inquired but just didn't sign up, look, for the most part, all your fixed expenses are already covered. They're not adding a whole lot in the expense category, but those leads are adding a ton into the profit category, right? Because you're already paying the paralegal. The lawyer's already doing their job, so the expense category doesn't go up as much. You're already covering rent, right? So these are very, very profitable people to go after. So now, what a lot of people say is, well, the media, all they're talking about is social media. They're telling us how great this is. Well, here's the thing. I'm not telling you not to use social media. I use social media a ton. Take a look at us. We've got, 85 or 90,000 people who follow our newsletter pro page. It's not that we don't use it, right? But the problem is, again, when the media is on it and they're telling you how great this is, I'm very, very suspect. I'm very suspect. Because they'll tell you how great social media is, but then they'll tell you things like direct mail don't work. All right, well, maybe I need to check out this direct mail because I found the media is often wrong. So, see, when it comes to marketing at least, see, here's the thing, right? all media can work. Now, there can be differences in quality of customer or client that you can get out of it, right? There can be difference in quality of prospect. I can tell you for us, we can make Facebook work, but we have about 85% of the leads we get are bad. They're just, I mean, many times we're targeting lawyers, and these are not lawyers who are opting in for our stuff, right? Okay, it's like 85% of them are bad. And so I find that the quality isn't as high. So again, I'm not saying don't do it, but this is what the media is telling you. They're telling you this is what it's all about. But they don't understand marketing. And they don't realize that on Facebook, when you make a post, less than 1% of the people who are fans of your page are seeing that post. Well, that's really hard to communicate with your audience if 1% or less of them are actually seeing what you're putting out there from a content standpoint, right? Of course, you can get more of them to see it, but you need to pay Facebook, right? So here's secret number 2. Direct mail still works. And it's right now working better than ever. But don't take my word for it. See, let's hear what Sony has to say. Okay, so Sony ran a promotion. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to increase repeat sales by 20%. That was their goal. They wanted to get people who went to Sony.com and bought a TV, they wanted to get 20% of them to come back and buy something else. That's what they were shooting for, right? So it seems like a noble goal. So they decided to run a test and send some offers out via direct mail and some offers out via email. Now, let me tell you how these offers went. They would send out, for example, a postcard. So if you bought a big screen TV, they'd send out a postcard and say, hey, we know people who buy big screen TVs probably want PlayStation 4s as well, right? So we're going to offer them a PlayStation at a discount if they'll come back and buy it. Now, whether you took that offer or did not take that offer, they actually sent out a second offer via postcard as well. If you were on the email list, then you got a first offer via an email and a second offer via email, right? So they sent a second offer. So let's say you took the PlayStation, right? The second offer might say, hey, would you like a discount on a home theater system? And then some people would take it and some people wouldn't. And that was their whole system. Here's what they found. By the end of the campaign, Sony had a 145% increase in repeat sales. They didn't have a 20% increase. They had a 145% increase. Now, of course, they were able to get 145% because people bought more than one product. They got the first coupon, bought a PlayStation, then they bought a home entertainment center. So that's how they were supposed to get, that's how they were able to get a 145% increase in repeat sales. But here was the surprising number. Revenue per 1,000 pieces mailed was 4x that of the email campaign. So when they sent the direct mail campaign out, they got 4x the return of revenue in than with the email campaign. So the question then is why? Why did that happen? Let's actually go back one more. Why did they see 4x? Couple reasons. First, we all know that there's far too much email being sent out right now, right? Average American adult gets 147 emails a day. It's way too much email. The next thing is the trust factor of email is very low because everybody knows it's free and everyone has been offered millions by their favorite prince, you know, somewhere else in the world, right, who happened to pass away. And everyone's seen the scams and knows the scams, and so the trust level is really low. But here's the other thing. Probably one of the biggest factors is deliverability. You know, on average right now in America, when you send an email out, it's averaging an 11% open rate. So business to consumer is averaging an 11% open rate. And that number has been trending down for years, which means that when you send that out, even if it's to 100,000 people, only 11,000 of them are actually seeing the message. But what happens when you send out 100,000 postcards? Like 999,000 of them are seeing the message. The post office has a 99.9% deliverability rate, which means you have more opportunity and it's more trusted. And you then have less competition because the average mailbox only has 3.9 pieces of mail in it per day. So you have all this going for you. But we think it's dead because that's what the media told us. That's what the masses think. See, that's the problem. Now, here's a quote for you. Print isn't dead. Media is so fast now and so dynamic and so temporary. Print is my only chance at actually making someone stop. Now, you might be thinking, Shaun, did you get that quote from Montgomery Ward when he was alive? I did not get that quote from Montgomery Ward. I got that quote from Omar Johnson, the CMO of Beats by Dr. Dre, a small company owned by another small company called Apple, one of the coolest companies on the planet. But these guys know that print is their only chance to make someone stop. See, Apple, I wrote an article on this. This is a little side story here for you. I'll be brief. But I wrote an article on this recently in our newsletter. And I talked about the fact that everyone thought Apple was crazy when they opened the Apple Store. This was back in the early/mid-2000s, about 2004. And everyone, media, the talking heads, they all thought they were crazy for opening these stores. I mean, isn't everything going online only? Like, isn't that what we're taught? But Apple stores, I mean, we've all been by an Apple store, even if we don't have an Apple product, and you look in and they're packed with people all the time, from open to close. They're packed. They're the only store in the mall that full at any given time that isn't Black Friday. Okay, they are just swamped with people. They are one of the highest per square foot revenue generated out of these stores. These stores are a wild success, and one of the reasons Apple's as big as it is today, $1 trillion company, right? But everyone thought they were crazy, right? But Apple said, no, we don't worry about what the media says. You know, everyone says you're online only. Let's look over this offline stuff. And what's Amazon doing now? They've bought Whole Foods, and they're moving into offline stores, right? See, offline's not going anywhere, guys, despite what you might hear on the news later this evening. Now, let's talk about referrals. So with referrals, right, here's the mistakes. Let's talk about the mistakes, because if you can fix these couple of little mistakes, you can see more referrals almost immediately, all right? So referrals, it's not as easy as simply being good at what you do. This is what we all think. We all think, you know what, if we're good at what we do, if we are the best attorney, we're going to get referrals. If we have the best law firm, we're going to get more referrals, okay? So that's not the case at all, because we all know, right now I want everyone here to think about an attorney who is not as good as you guys are, but who is getting more business or appears to be getting more business than you guys do, right? We all know that attorney who isn't as good, but seems to get the marketing game a little bit, and all of a sudden they're getting a flood of new clients in, when your firm's actually better, would actually help the clients better, would actually win more for them, but you're not getting the same results, right? So it's not about being good. And that's not fair, but it's the world we live in, right? It starts first with your clients must know who you are, what you do, and that you're still in business if you ever expect to get a referral. So a client of ours who has become a good friend of mine, his name is Shane. He's a lawyer in the South. And Shane, the reason he became a client was because of this exact thing. They didn't know who he was, what he did, and that he was still in business. See, Shane pulled a list of cases. He's a PI attorney. Pulled a list of cases that they had won and gotten checks for people over the past 6 months. And he called all of them to find out, you know, just check in on them, see how they were doing, make sure the experience was good, because he couldn't figure out why they weren't getting any referrals. And you know what he found? He said, I found that more people hung up on me, told me I was not on the do not call list, had no clue who I was, just regardless of the size of the check I'd given them. No clue. Think about that for a second. Why? Because we all live these busy lives. And your clients are not thinking about you when they're done receiving your services, right? They have moved on. Just like you're not thinking about the plumber or electrician after they've taken care of that issue at your house, right? You're not, man, I wonder how I can refer that plumber. That's not what's going through your head. You're going about your day because the plumber never communicates with you. And when you need another one, you're like, damn, what was that person's name again, right? See, the next thing that you need to get referrals is they also have to know, like, and trust you and the people who work for you and basically the law firm as a whole. So you have to have a good reputation. But how do you get that? How do you build that kind of trust? Well, it's communication, guys. You have to communicate with them on a regular basis, right? That's the only way that you're going to be able to build up the trust so that they feel comfortable referring you, because when they refer, they're putting their name and their reputation, they're vouching for you, if we were to think about it from a mob standpoint, right? Now, luckily, they don't die if it doesn't go well, because that would be sad and tragic. But it's, you know, one of these things where they're vouching for you, and the last thing they want is to hear about it over and over and over again when they see that friend or family member, right? So this is so important. So it's communication, right? It's communication. So let me tell you first why referrals are important. Okay, most people understand that they're important, but they don't understand exactly how important they are. See, clients who are referred are 4 times more likely to buy when they're referred. So they're easier to close the deal. When that person comes in, you know, your chance of them signing up is much, much higher. They also have a 16% higher lifetime value, which means they are going to spend more with you or do more repeat business with you, okay? And they're 18% more loyal. So they're not going to abandon you on the first challenge, the first issue, right? See, it's not enough. It's not enough to do the good work. Doesn't matter. They can't tell the difference between you and the person who doesn't do the good work. They're intimidated. They're scared of law in general, right? And they can't tell the difference between you and the next person unless you show them, right? But you can't just say, I'm the best lawyer, because they expect you to say that, right? See, here's the question, right? The question is, are you guys playing chess or are you playing checkers? See, let me explain this really quick. If you're playing chess, then what you're going to do is you're going to choreograph their experience. You want them to have an experience that is going to be good, so they are more likely to refer and tell friends and family members about that, right? Let me play this out. I'll give you a scenario. So let's say that you're going to go grocery shopping, and you're going to the store, and you walk into your store, and you've got a $100 bill, and you only have cash, you have a small list, and you get all your items, and you walk to the checkout line, and there's only, you know, 2 people in front of you in the checkout line, and so you kind of get out of there pretty quickly, and they ring you up, and it comes out to $97.52. That was your total. They ring you up, and you get your change, and you walk to your car, and you load your groceries in, and you drive home, right? No problems. You got good service. How many people do you go and tell about your shopping experience? Right? You don't go and tell anybody because you got exactly what you expected. You got $100, you got a small list, you expected to go in, get your stuff, get good service, not wait in a super long line, check out, get your change, put your groceries in your car, go home. You don't tell anybody about that experience. So when I come to you as a lawyer and I need you to handle my estate and trust, and I pay you my money for that, and then you give me my documents, well, who do I tell? I tell no one. I gave you the money. I expected you to do the job. Like, that's what I expected to happen. See, if on the flip side you choreographed an experience for them, right? If there was a little more, if when you went to that grocery store, the person who bagged your groceries said, hey, if you'd like, I can run these groceries out your car, put them in, there's no charge for it. And actually, if you've got other errands to run instead, I could be at your house in the next 2 hours, and I would cheerfully deliver them for free and unload your groceries for you, so you can go run your errands and your items don't melt because they'll be in our fridge and freezers to make sure that they're kept safe. Like, you might tell everybody about that experience, right? Because that's unique, that's different. It's not what you expected. So I'll give you another example. A friend of mine, she recently got granite countertops installed, okay? And they come in, they put the granite countertops in, and she took one picture, put it on social media, didn't tag the company in it, just said, hey, I got new countertops, they look great, you know. Now, a week or 10 days later, in the mail, she gets a cutting board in the mail, made from the same granite as her countertops, with a note saying, hey, thank you so much for being such a great client. We really appreciate it. We made you this cutting board. We hope that you are enjoying your countertops. Well, do you know how many people she's told about? She has told dozens and dozens and dozens of people about that. It was multiple posts on social media. The company was tagged in it. She told everyone. Now, the granite guys weren't walking through the boneyards of granite scraps being like, you know what? That Darce was a really nice customer. I see we got a little leftover countertop here. Let's make her a cutting board. No, of course they weren't. That was choreographed. They were playing chess. They had it figured out ahead of time. Now, had they come to her and said, hey, by the way, when we're done with your countertops, we're also going to send you this really cool cutting board made from your countertops, she would have expected that. That would have been getting what she was paying for, and she would have told nobody about it. Do you see the difference? A small thank you note, a card, a video made from the team that's 1 minute that's sent over that says, hey, you know, we really appreciate you as a client. Like, little things can make a big difference sometimes. But don't tell everyone everything you're doing. Play chess. Now, I told you I was going to tell you where the future of marketing was going. And here it is, guys. The one essential tactic you must employ for success is relationship marketing. This is where it's going. Here's why. How does someone tell you apart from the rest of the lawyers? Now, there's a couple of ways, right? They can look at reviews. They can check out Avvo. They can check out Google, whatever the case may be, right? They can check all that stuff out. But does that really tell them anything? Not necessarily. Still very hard to pick. And there are so many lawyers in small, 1 to 3 law firms. You know, there's roughly 400,000 lawyers out there. In bigger firms, I mean, there's over 1 million lawyers in this country. Now, they're doing a lot of different areas of law, lots of different areas of law, right? But there's still 1 million lawyers. That's a lot. So by employing relationship marketing, so marketing where you are actually going out and building that relationship with them so they feel like they're connected to you, right? You're setting yourself apart from everybody else out there in your niche. Because the one thing that no one can copy is you. There's only one you. They can't copy it. So they can't mimic your advertising to get your results. But they can then tell that you're different from everybody else. I like this person, right? So I've told my story here earlier. I talked about having a kid at 16 years old, and we do a lot of relationship marketing for our clients and for our company. And I get this call not too long ago. I guess it was probably maybe a couple 2 years ago. This young man insists on talking to me. And so my assistant puts the call through, and I chat with him. And he wanted to talk with me because he'd been reading our newsletters and watching our videos and stuff. And he's like, Shaun, I just got to tell you, man, we have so much in common. And I really felt a connection in reading your story because our stories are so similar. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, this guy must be a teenage dad. And he's like, yeah, man, I mean, you had a kid really young, and I'm 25, and I'm getting ready to have my first kid. And, man, I feel like we're really connected. And I'm like thinking to myself, what are you talking about? Like, there is nothing similar. This is what I'm thinking. To me, having a kid at 16 years old as a boy and you being a grown-ass man at 25 years old and having a kid. These are parallel universes, okay? But he felt the connection with me. He had a relationship with me, right? He resonated with my story. And it sets me apart. It makes me different, right? It makes my company different. See, relationship marketing is what's going to make you different from every single one of those competitors out there. Every other lawyer in your area that's doing the same thing you're doing. That's what's going to be different, okay? But here's the thing. You actually have to build the relationship with your prospects and clients, right? You actually have to do it. You actually have to do a little bit of work on this. So let's talk about what are relationships built on. So they're built on shared interests, right? So in this case of the gentleman I told you, we had a shared interest of both being young dads. Communication, regular communication. Same thing in your personal life. You don't talk to someone once a quarter, twice a year, and that's enough. You guys are BFFs, right? You don't do that. That's not how that works. You got to talk to someone monthly or more. So mutual benefit, that's another thing that happens, right? So you have to be providing value to them, right? You have to also get value back from them. Trust, build trust, mutual respect, shared vulnerability. You can see that where I shared my story earlier today, you know, about having a kid young. That's shared vulnerability, right? And you have to be authentic. There's only one you, so you just need to be you. Don't try to be me or the lawyer down the street or whatever the case may be. But this is what relationships are built on, right? You see, guys, as we go more Jetsons, it's the businesses who act like the Flintstones, right? Who are neighborly, who bring the pie over when you first move in or the cookies. these are the ones who are going to win. Because right now, the world's shifted, right? It used to be 20 years ago that everyone had to come to us, the companies, for information. If we want to know about lawyers, we had to go to you. They had to call you to get the information. But now they can get 80% of the way there all on their own without ever contacting you. See, so the difference is how can you start that communication with them, engage them, and then build that relationship with them? What marketing can you do that makes that happen? So you are the conclusion. You're the person they're going to end up with when they're ready to buy, partially because you built a relationship and partially because you're probably the only one still communicating with them because everybody else gave up. See, the one tactic we use for this is newsletters, okay? And we, like I said, we send out tons of newsletters for lots of different law firms. But that works because we're able to tell our story. We're able to be personal with them, right? We're able to communicate with them on a monthly basis. We're able to talk to them about stuff that they're interested in, and then as well educate them on what it is that we do, or, you know, so we can tell them all about the different products and services. And don't underestimate that. If for nothing else, that is one of the most important reasons to use a newsletter. In fact, it reminds me, because I'm looking at this newsletter here, and we had a client here. I saw it said criminal defense and personal injury on the top of this newsletter here, and we had a client who tells me this story. And he's on the phone with me, and he tells me this story, and he's a lawyer. And I said, you know what, why just I do one now? Because he's been on our list for a little while. And he goes, Shaun, the other day I was out with the family. We're going to have a nice dinner. And I walk in, I see one of my clients. I'd helped him out a few little legal jams here and there. See one of them sitting over, and he's having a pretty big party. It's getting a little rowdy. I decided to walk over and say hi. And I walk over and talk to him for a minute and ask him what's going on, what are they celebrating. And my client goes, you'll never believe it. You'll never believe it. The judge just came down with the verdict, and I won my injury case. I won $5 million. He's like, I'm rich. This is so great. It's going to be amazing. It's changed my entire life. And the lawyer said my face must have gotten ghost white because he goes, what's wrong? What's going on? And the lawyer says to the client, well, didn't you know that we do personal injury as well? And the client goes, I had no idea. I thought you were only criminal. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. I would have called you. Now, those of you who are familiar with personal injury understand what this guy just lost. 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million dollars that he would have gotten off that verdict, right? Because this good client who he'd happened to have known this guy since high school, had no idea they were in the personal injury side. Can you imagine? Like, I don't know, I would have had a very large bottle of tequila that night. I mean, I would have been very upset personally, probably cried every night on the anniversary for a couple of years. Like, you know, I would have been very upset. But see, when you use a newsletter, you can create long-term nurture and follow-up, right? So that secret number one, you can use the newsletter to follow up with them, right? You can build those relationships with clients like we've been talking about with the relationship marketing, right? You can increase retention and case acceptance because you're the only one still communicating with them when they're thinking about it, right? We can get you more referrals because you're top of mind and you're building that relationship with them, as we mentioned, right? We can build your authority, and we live in a world where that is important. You have some authority going in just simply because of the law firm, right? But we can add to that authority, right, and celebrity. We can add to the celebrity. That's very important in our society. Most famous lawyer is better than the best lawyer. That's what most people think, right? We can allow you to sell more to existing clients when appropriate, right? Some firms can do that. Some firms that's a little more challenging, right? You have media that you own and you actually control. You can't be banned for this or kicked off this. They're not going to double your price, your ad costs, which is happening about every 6 to 9 months, 12 months on Facebook right now. Ad cost is doubling, right? And then it allows you to engage in the real world with a print version and then the digital world with an email version. So you get to engage in both, which is your very best way to market. Everything you're doing, you should be looking at how can we engage in both physical and digital world. you know, Apple's not only selling their phones online, right? They have a physical presence. How can we engage in the physical and digital world? So the biggest problem with this is time, right? Super difficult to get it all done. Just to give you an idea, this is what it takes. This is like the minimum you've got to put in to get it done. I'm only going to comment one thing on this, which is the find pictures. Please, 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 I beg you, do not go to Google and find your pictures. Go license them. You are lawyers. I promise you, someone's going to come knocking and ask you for money for violating a copyright of their pictures. So please don't go do that. But that's everything you've got to do. Now this, for us, we do all this for our clients already. They don't do any of this. We do 100% of it, right? So here's one of our clients, Art, and he says, our newsletter has been published monthly for almost a year, and actually, since he sent this, it's been 2 additional years, so now it's been like 3 years. I always look forward to doing the cover story with our copywriter, and it always comes out better than I imagined. Clients and friends of the firm seem to appreciate that they're on our publication list, and we have seen a rise in referrals since the printed newsletter has replaced a prior email approach. I'm impressed with the professional quality, entertainment value, and production that the Newsletter Pro provides. And we have literally hundreds of these, various different testimonials. But look, I'll leave it with just one. So here's what I want to do, guys. I want to, before we jump into questions, I want to send you a book complimentary. Now, in this book, I'm also going to include samples of other newsletters from other lawyers and a couple bonus goodies in there that I'll leave as a surprise. And when you get this book, you're going to get the free 3-sentence email training course as well for free. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to text ALA to 208-269-9111. So just ALA to 208-269-9111. That is going to trigger a really cool marketing experience that you'll see where the system is going to ask you. It's going to gather your information. What's your name? What's your address? What's your phone number? All right? And then that way we'll know where to ship the book off to. And so you can kind of watch that marketing go out, and it's something that you guys can actually even use in your own practice. But, yeah, so text ALA 208-269-9111. If you don't have access to your cell phone, which would be very weird, by the way, and most people aren't more than 3 feet away from it 24/7, just teasing you about being weird. But if you don't have access to it, you can go to newsletterpro.com/free book, and we will get you one of those books as well. So newsletterpro.com/free book. So that's what I have. Let's see, I think that's 100% of it. Yeah, there you go. That's the information on the bonus. Has anyone got any questions, anything I could clarify, marketing related or on the presentation or newsletters, whatever makes the most sense?
Well, Shaun, I think we do have questions that I actually have here with me.
Okay.
So the first one that I'd like to ask, there's a question that came through that says, if I were to publish a newsletter, I'm not sure who I'd send it to other than the 100 or so clients on my list. Are there other options?
There are, yeah. So current clients, past clients. Now, typically on past clients, you don't want to go back more than about 18 months. It's usually, some people can go as far as 2 years, depending on what area of law you're in, but usually 18 to 24 months, no further back. You can send out to lead sources. So, for example, if you get a lot of clients in from, chiropractors, let's say, right? So then we can get your top lead sources on there. Yeah, and usually you want to get the list to about 400. It starts to become cost effective at about 400 people on it. But typically speaking, if you include the clients, the past clients, some lead sources, most people are able to get there pretty easily, pretty quickly. Okay, great.
So one more, what kind of content should I include for my audience? I don't want it to be too generic.
Yeah, so generic doesn't work, by the way, okay? So you don't want it to be generic at all. That's why we do custom newsletters. So what you want is, it's really a 75-25 is the rule. So 75% of the content should be relevant or non-relevant content, which means it's maybe a story about the lawyer, right? So we're talking about what's going on in their world. It could be an article to help mom. It could be an article that it could be like Sunday Funnies. And then 25% of it can be law specific, where we're talking about products or services that you guys offer, or we could be talking about a case where we're being discreet on the case. We're talking about a case or something along those lines. So you want 75% to be non-relevant and relationship building, and 25% to be about the firm itself. And we would walk you through all that. And in the book, I actually walk you through that whole formula as well, too. So.
Okay, great, great, great. So we've got one that just came in from Jennifer. What type of law firms have found the most success with your product? PI, bankruptcy, litigation, corporate, estate planning, et cetera. If multiple practice areas, how many can you put in one newsletter? Yeah,
so that's a good question. PI works really well. We have a number of bankruptcy clients. We have some criminal. Criminal is much more difficult. They really have to go to referral sources, right? They're not usually going out to the clients, obviously. We have some criminal, but usually where we have a lot of criminal is when they have multiple areas that they practice in, right? PI and criminal or something like that, right? Definitely estate planning. Litigation, we don't have a ton. We don't have a ton of litigation. We have some corporate. But yeah, I'd probably say litigation out of what you listed was probably where we would have the least that I know of. We have a lot of clients. I don't know all of them anymore, but I'd take a educated guess that that's where we have the least area. Here's what happens. There's two ways to kind of skin that cat. So the first way is that you have one newsletter if it makes sense, and it can go to everybody. And we would have to figure out which areas you're in for law to make sure it goes out to everyone. But the other thing is you can always slice and dice it a little bit. So there's what's called a page variation when you work with us, where for a nominal difference, we can change out one entire page. We can even change out the entire page, and if I doubt they're different names of the firms, but if they were different names, we could change out like the cover page and then change out all the graphics and the design and the phone numbers and websites and all that as well too. It's all covered in the same fee. So yeah, we do this a lot where we have to slice and dice it up for different areas, whether it's different firms or we work with law firms, dentists, physical therapists, so basically professionals. Those are our main areas that we work in. And so yeah, we're very familiar with making that work without having to create entirely separate newsletters for every area, because that would just be cost prohibitive to do. So.
All right, great. So I've got another question here that says, let's see, how should I go about creating a referral program when I can't actually give out prizes or perks?
That's a great question, yeah. Okay, so one, you definitely have to push a little more into the relationship marketing. You cannot give out prizes. It depends on what area of law a little bit too, right? So some areas of law, what they can do is they can have events. It makes sense to have an event, right? So, you know, if you're in, you know, business law, right, you could be putting on for hot clients or top referral people, you know, where you're taking everyone out to dinner for an evening, right? So you could do something like that. But the best way to do it when you can't hold it doesn't make sense to hold an event for whatever reason, that's just not the right demographic of client or in PI or something like that. You want to do it by relationship, and then you want to use information, right? So where it's information, you want to create information that the person would want to tell their friends about. So instead of them saying, hey, I've got a great lawyer, they can say, when they're like, oh, I was just in a car accident, oh, hey, you should read this book on this short book that my lawyer puts out that's the 10 ways to make sure you don't get ripped off by the insurance companies, right, or something along those lines. And so you can give out information, and what you want to do, what most people do is they try to give out information that's like why you should hire my law firm, okay, but that's not the question that the person has. The question going on in the mind of someone who is really a suspect at this point, they're someone who's being referred in, they're not even a prospect because they haven't contacted you. You want to answer those questions. What's going on? What is going on in that person's life right then and there? That we could answer the question. So here's an example. I'll tell you, I'm in Idaho, so I'll talk about an example from Idaho, from estate planning. If in Idaho, if you do not have your will and trust and estate all set up and taken care of, and you have kids like I do, and my wife and I, let's say we got in an accident and passed away, even though my mom lives down the street, the state would still take my kids and they'd be in the system for like 9 months, okay? Now, maybe they would end up with my mom or my sister, but maybe they wouldn't. I don't know, okay? But they'd be in care of the state for that period of time. And that's scary. That's super, super scary, right? So if I'm trying to get people in for that, I could start out with, some kind of information product that's telling them why this is happening, how the law works, and how they can do to solve it, because that's a lot easier to refer information out than it is to refer someone into the practice. So hopefully that was clear, because that was a lot of information really, really fast. But yeah, it's called information marketing. If you want to like Google it and look at it, there's information marketing, or you can look at various lead magnets. Is another, probably even a better term to look under if you wanted to like do research on lead magnets. And I do talk about it in the No BS referral book. In fact, I use a law example of a lawyer. I talk about their 5 lead magnets that they give out. It's in the book there. So if you want to grab that book, it's on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon, and it talks about the 5 or 6 lead magnets at this one law office. They're a PI attorney. So they're a PI attorney, and I talk about the lead magnets they do and how good of a job they do with them to get referrals in. So.
All right, excellent. If I can just ask you one more question before we close out. What's the big difference between my e-newsletter and a print newsletter? The big difference between an email newsletter and a print newsletter? Yes.
Yeah. So there's a couple things. The biggest thing is readership. So that's probably the number one thing. You don't get a lot of readership on an email newsletter. The average email newsletter has a lifespan of 8 seconds, so that's not very long. And the average deliverability rate or open rate is only 11%. So 11% of the people open it, and it lasts 8 seconds. And so you're just not getting distribution, right? No one's seeing the message. Even if you're sending out 10,000 email newsletters, right? Just 1,100 people. I mean, if you're sending out 10,000, you got a big firm, right? So 1,100 people just isn't that much seeing it, and if they're only reading it for 8 seconds, it doesn't work. The next thing is a lot of times when people are doing email newsletters, their content mix is way off. It's all legalese stuff. It's all talking about, law or case law or this case we won or, whatever. And so the information's way off. So then in turn, that's another reason that readership is low. But there's also something when you can engage someone in the real world, you can engage all their senses. And actually I did a little informal survey at a legal conference last year that I spoke at, and I had a room of about 400 lawyers in there, and I've spoken at this conference for the last 3 or 4 years, so I'm well known at the conference. A lot of people are on my list and get my newsletter and all this kind of stuff. And I asked them, I said, hey, I want you guys to do me a favor. Everyone raise your hand if you get, anyone who gets my newsletter, raise your hand. And about half of the hands went up in the room. So I was disappointed it wasn't more. It should have been 90%, right? But half the hands go up in the room. And I said, okay, now look, I want you to leave your hand up. Right? If you read the newsletter, I'm sorry, I want you to put your hand down if you read the newsletter on the couch, right? At your couch. Okay? And some people put their hands down. And then I said, now I want you to put your hand down if you read the newsletter at the kitchen table. And we had a lot of people put their hand down. So we had a lot of people reading at the kitchen table. So okay, now I'm going to get a little strange, guys. I want you to put your hand down if you read it like in bed or in your favorite chair or something that's really personal like that. And a ton more hands go down, right? And I said, okay, now this is the last one. And at this point, maybe there's like 35 hands, 50 hands still up somewhere in that neighborhood. And I said, okay, if you read the newsletter on occasion while you're going to the bathroom, I want you to put your hand down, okay? And about 15 or so, 18 hands go down. Here's what I'm getting at with this. I was spending time, people were spending time with me, I guess is a better way of putting it, in some of their most intimate settings. I got time at their kitchen table with them. I got time on the couch with them or in bed or in their favorite chair. And unfortunately, I also got time in their bathroom with them, okay, which is not a place I really want to be with a lot of people, but, I was getting time with them there. And it changes the relationship, right? There's something about holding it, reading it, spending time with us. I'll say one last thing on this. If you look at what everybody is looking at from the big corporations, all the big corporations, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Walmart, Costco, Amazon, all of them, Do you know what they look at? Like one of the #1 metrics? It's how much time you spend on their site. And if you spend, the more time you spend on their site, that can adjust the stock price of some of these companies if that changes too far down too fast, right? Because they're like, oh, people aren't spending time on Facebook. Facebook's going out, right? People aren't spending time on MySpace.com anymore, so MySpace is almost non-existent anymore, right? And that's the thing that you got to get, is that time that you spend with them, that time where they're engaging with you, is some of the most valuable, most precious time that the largest companies on the planet are trying to get after. And if you can get 10 or 12 or 15 minutes with them, and you can do it in print, you will get more referrals. They will do more business, repeat business with you. You will have more success. More prospects will close 100% of the time because you have their attention. And that's super valuable and important in today's society. So, sorry, long-winded on that one.
That was okay. It was great. It was great. It was fantastic. We are actually at the top of the hour, a little past the top of the hour, but this has been great. Don't forget, text ALA to 208-269-9111. And we want to thank Shaun for a great presentation. And we just thank you, and we appreciate you coming. Don't forget, check out all of our different webcasts. I will chat that information to you in just a second. Shaun, anything else you want to close us out with?
I don't think so. I hope everyone has an absolutely amazing week, though.
All right. Have a great week. Thank you all for attending.